Hey, this is SJ Talks in Life. I found an article on here on Microsoft. States are going to start cracking down on mommy bloggers, family bloggers. I'm going to read a portion of the article to you. Um, Family and child influencers, which grew up from original online network of mommy bloggers in the 2000s, are constantly finding their way onto for your pages. Influencer economy is worth 250 billion dollars, and parent and child influencers claim a sizable slice of that pie. Top earners like Ryan's World, the channel of a YouTuber who rose to fame at age 3 unboxing toys on camera and ranked in as much as 35 million a year. In 2023 Morning Consult survey, 57% of Gen Z respondents said they wanted to be influencers. The trend kids playing influencer has gotten so unwidely over the past 2 decades that lawmakers across the country are stepping in and attempting to regulate it. The trend started in 2023, and since California, Utah, Minnesota, and Illinois have passed laws that mandate kids receive compensation and a trust if that they appear in about one third of someone's monetized content, or if the poster hits a certain income threshold from their content. Some give the children the right to demand the content be deleted when they become adults. Half a dozen or so more states drafting their own bills. It's a move that recognizes content creation as a labor and not amateur home videos capturing kids being kids. The laws are bolstered by the most heinous examples of parents abusing the children they forced to perform in monetized videos. Sherry Frank's recently published memoir, The House of My Mother, is a look inside one of the most insidious cases of a parent exploiting children in a drive for online fame that involve abuse and the introduction of abusive life coach unto their family. In Utah, her mother, Ruby Frank, is serving a prison time for 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. Their family story became a major driving force behind the Utah law, which is set to take an effect in May. Some parents have sold photos of their children in revealing outfits to men online. Running Instagram accounts for their young daughters. A new Netflix docuseries, Bad Influence, alleges that the momager thrifty Tiffany Smith became verbally and physically abusive and forced preteens to work alongside her daughter for long hours to create YouTube content. Some of the other former stars involved in content settled a 1.85 million lawsuit with Smith last year. Smith's daughter, Piper Raquel, has denied the claims that her mother was abusive, and Smith said the docuseries just showed a false narrative. For all the good intentions of the laws bring back, they lack teeth. There are no enforcing body. Critics say the kid influencers would need to first know that laws exist and then have the resources to sue for their money once they turn 18. If their parents didn't set up a trust, the laws require people to keep records of the content they created, compensation received, and what they deposit into accounts for their children. Even if their recourse is to sue your parents, it's likely to make coming home for the holidays more than awkward. And grown children of influencers may take these steps only in the most extreme circumstances. Even as the trend shows lawmakers want to do something about child influences, they largely don't address questions about whether children can or should consent to spending hours in front of a ring light or unboxing toys. It is so tricky because, on the one hand, these children are engaged in labor and deserve to be compensated for their labor. After the mom influence tells me in email. But on the other hand, should these children be engaged in such labor? Peterson says the laws could normalize child labor and pave the way for children to be seen as employees of their parents, which could lead to more harm, as natural influencing may look to viewer to the viewer. Peterson says it's really the performance of the self which blurs the line between the public and private aspects of life, even for adults. I don't think children are capable of the kind of psychological compartmentalization. I can't read that. Necessary in professional influencing, nor do I think they should be asked to be it. She adds, good point. Work is kind of everywhere and nowhere. Anybody with a device has already been experiencing Since the era of smartphone, Illinois was the first to pass a law which took effect following California. Similar to approaches, content creators must set aside a portion of earnings from content in which children appear and put it into a trust for when the kids turn 18. They are modeled largely on the Coogan Law, which mandates child actors' employers keep 50% of the kids' income in a trust their parents can't touch. Some of the state laws use this 15% figure, with other requires more income to be set aside. Utah passed its own law in March, which stipulates children receive pay for their time. Their feature in accounts rake in more than $150,000 a year. UTUB has been a hub for mom influencers and trad wives, women there, many of who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, show an idealistic version of home life and traditional gender norms, sometimes as the way they subtly evangelize their faith online, but also monetize their roles as homemakers. Now the state is pivoting towards regulating how children use and are seen on the internet, both with new kid influencer protections and with a new ban on smartphones and smartwatches in school. The biggest swing among laws from Minnesota, where children under the age of 14 won't be able to work in content from come July. The new law defines working as appearing in more than 30% of compensated content. If parents break this rule, children are entitled to sue for all the money made from the content. Those 14 and older who make their own content get to keep all the money under the law. The feasibility of laws will be put into the test of court. Children grow up and bring lawsuits. Allison Fitzpatrick, partner of the New York law firm Davidson Gilbert, who represents brands and higher influencers, said that parents better start following these laws. At some point, their child can sue them if they do not take these steps. Influencing has ballooned in the past decade to become a way to get work outside the traditional market. Before the last century, children always worked in first in agriculture as apprentices to family businesses and then in factories. Then we decided as a society that they shouldn't be clocking in and out, aside from carve outs for child actors, some top tier athletes, and after school gigs. U.S. mostly outlaw child labor, but in recent years there's been a rise in states attempting to roll back some child labor regulations, and the labor regulations have jumped. The proliferation of family influences created a harder industry to regulate because so much of it takes place at home in cars during the daily life. You went to the factory, you went to the coal mine, and you got the kids out of there. Hillary C. Robinson, professional law sociology at Northwestern University, says a past child labor crisis, now work is kind of everywhere and nowhere. She says, adding everybody with a device has already been experiencing that since the era of the smartphone. Uh, this is a long article. There are shocking stories of exploitation, but most families don't have anything close to the horror story unfolding out of frame. There are kids and teens who want to express themselves online and have broken through, connecting to their peers in huge ways. There are others paused by parents to do so, or pushed by parents to do so. It is difficult for any brand or any agency to really understand that what goes on in the four walls of a family home. So basically, it's articles. This is a long article. Basically, the article is saying that they're going to start cracking down on family bloggers, mommy bloggers, family bloggers. No, I watch quite a few of them I watch a few of them here. I got some favorite ones that I like to watch here on YouTube. Family mommy channels. I really enjoy watching the content. But I understand what they're saying. Because the children really can't don't can't consent. Children can't consent to being filmed, especially if the parent is filming on a daily basis. Can the children really consent? Can the children really say that they don't want to be filmed, or do they have any type of say so, or whether they, you know, can, you know, be filmed. I mean, if the parent is, I know with some of these mommy bloggers on here, that's their bread and butter. That's how they make their money, and it enables them to work out of their home and stay at home and earn money. So um, that's why a lot of them are doing it. Um, and so that's, and then there does come a question of, is it too invasive for children? What do you guys think? Do you think it's too invasive for children? Do you think that, like, some things that they show, it, like, for example, if they show a child, a mommy blogger shows a child sitting on the potty, and the child grows up and decides that that's embarrassing, they don't want, and that's what they were saying in this article, that the child can they're trying to make it so the child can request that the content be removed, because that might be embarrassing to that child to have you know that put on have that on social media. As they get older, they might get embarrassed by something like that. So that, I guess, that's something that uh, that's definitely something to think about. That's definitely something for mommy bloggers to think about. Maybe being more mindful of the kind of content, that maybe not film certain things. Maybe being mindful of the content that they are putting out about that involves the children. Um, Making sure that they're not putting out certain images of their children. And yeah, and I have heard of that 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 before, that they're going to be requiring that family bloggers take a percentage of the money and put it into a trust for the child, if they're making, because you got some family bloggers on here that's making lots of money. It's like they're making lots of money on here. So yeah, they should be required to take a portion of that money and put it back. I understand that they're trying to earn a living, but they should be required to take a portion of that money and set it back into a trust for the child, just as if the child was an actor. It's really no different than a child actor being in a movie or television show. You would take a certain percentage of that money. The parents should be required to take a certain percentage, and they are, in that case, are required to take a certain percentage of that money and put it into a trust for the child. So when the child grows up, they have a certain amount of money. So I know Gary Coleman sued his parents because I was looking at a documentary. They had a documentary about him. I was looking at that, and they was talking about how uh, his parents claimed that they didn't know that the lawyers, took. They was claiming that they were ignorant to a lot of things, and they didn't know um, that that he didn't have any money in the trust, and it was something like that. You would have to go back and watch it. And they interviewed the parents, and the parents was acting like they said that they was ignorant to a lot of stuff, and they didn't know a lot of stuff, but they wanted up beating him out of his, between the parents and the lawyers and stuff, and accountants and all that, whatever, that the people that was managing his money, between the parents and the other people that were responsible for his money, they might end up beating him out of his money, and the money didn't get he didn't get what he was supposed to get by the time he grew up. He put in he was on that show, Different Strokes. I mean, he was in that show Different Strokes. He was in some movies, commercials. I mean, he did a lot of work. He put in a lot of work. And so for him to grow up and not have any, not get what he paid, get the money that he earned, was this robbery. You know, so that's why they do. I guess they do need to have that law into effect, that the parent, if a parent makes a certain amount of money, if they make a certain amount of money on YouTube or Facebook, then they should be required to take a portion of that money and set back and put into a trust for the child. That's no more than right, because that child is in your videos. They're working. They're working just like a child actor. They are putting in work. If they're appearing in your videos every day, then they are putting in work. And so yeah, I agree with that. They should be required to if you making a certain amount of money and you got some family bloggers on here that's making a whole lot of money, they should be required to. They're making millions. Some of them making millions. So they should be required to take a portion of that money and like Peach McIntyre. Peach McIntyre makes millions on here between Facebook, YouTube, Facebook. I don't know about TikTok, but I definitely know she makes good money between YouTube and Facebook. She should be required to take a portion of that money and set aside for those kids because yeah, because yeah, she makes a lot of money on here. She makes lots of money. So yeah, I do agree with that. So let me know. Hit me up in the comment section if you guys. What do you guys think? You guys think that they should um, crack down across the board um, about mommy slash family bloggers? Um, they should definitely regulate it. Yeah, they should give the children more rights. Um, what do you think? What do you think? I enjoy watching a lot of those channels, but yeah, do you think that they should regulate it? They should the parents should be required to set back a certain amount of money for them if they make a certain amount of money. Let me know. Hit me up in the comment section what you think. This is really interesting. But yeah, I do believe that they should yeah be compensated. Because they are appearing in the videos and they're putting in work. And children do have rights. You know, they do have rights. They're human beings and they have rights. Uh, Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that like button and I'll see you in the next video.